Initiate recording. Make sure that's underway, and we will get started. Okay, first off, I want to thank everyone for attending today. This is another in a series of weekly webinars that we host for our SharpSpring clients. The topic today is creating and managing opportunities. Actually, this was intended to be last week's topic. Some snafus prevented an effective presentation last week, so we're going to recreate that topic today. Just to let you know, do some housekeeping, who we are. I'm Jerry. I've probably met all of you who are attending today's conference. I conduct the Biznet boot camps as well as host these webinars. Alyssa, my partner in crime, is usually with me. She's not here today though, so I'm running solo. So bear with me if I am reading screens and doing 2 or 3 things with my thumbs. Just to set some context here, who you are all existing Biznet marketing automation clients. You've most likely attended a live bootcamp session. You're using marketing automation and SharpSpring and or are about to soon start doing so. You have a login to SharpSpring, so when I log in and walk through these exercises, you should be familiar with at least where I am in the application and know where you are. And most likely you're attending because you need some refresher training for yourselves, or you have new staff members who've come on board. Admittedly, we cover a lot in the boot camps, the live boot camps, so these sessions are meant to be quick refreshers. As we've said, these webinars are extensions of Bootcamp Live. They're short, they're half-hour long, topic-specific refreshers. We hold them every Thursday at 11, intended for current customers. We will use our Bootcamp test environment. That way we're not messing anything up. We do record these sessions, and we will make them available on our website. I don't have the URL noted here, but if you go to biznetdigital.net/login. There's a login there for you to get into SharpSpring, and then there's also links to the various webinars that we have recorded. If you have questions today, you are all muted as attendees, but if you have questions, you can submit them via the, I think you have a questions panel. You can submit them via that way. I'll do my best to pay attention to what's coming in and answer those questions. So that being said, again, today's topic is creating and managing opportunities. Before we really get started, if anybody's got any questions and wants to submit them, I'll keep an eye on that and try to respond as best I can. Okay, first things first, creating and managing opportunities. What are opportunities? Within the context of SharpSpring, an opportunity is a real actual chance for business. It's a potential customer, somebody who's maybe done a little bit more than just raised their hand. They've actually reached out and expressed an interest to you. So depending on what your product or service is, this is somebody who's maybe, I don't know, maybe they've sent you an RFP. Maybe they sent you an email saying, hey, I got a project I need a quote on, or hey, I've got something starting up, let's meet and talk. Or if you're a product-based provider, maybe they submitted and said, hey, I want to buy 10,000 of these and I need them in 2 months. So they're real opportunities. Of course, nothing short of, or if you're operating a retail store and people come in and pick it up the shelf and buy it, in most real world, especially business to business scenarios, opportunities take a little bit of while to really come to fruition. So, you create those opportunities, and then using the sales pipeline within SharpSpring, you are able to manage those opportunities as they mature. We're going to look at the pipeline today, but we're not going to spend a lot of time breaking it down. An upcoming session will focus on the pipeline. But the pipeline is where you manage those opportunities as they mature from infant to toddler to adolescent to adult. And as you've heard me say and show during the Bootcamp Lives, opportunities within SharpSpring get created from the Contact Manager. SharpSpring is a person-oriented, person-focused system. So you identify an individual, that person who called you saying, hey, can you put a quote together for me? You use them in SharpSpring to then generate that opportunity. Whoops, jumped ahead of myself there. What I'm going to do now is bump over to SharpSpring to our, this is our Bootcamp instance. And what I'm going to do is, I'll just quickly show you. I've got a pipeline created already in here. And we've got some various stages at it. Let me switch to my actual sales pipeline. I'm going to change my date range. Actually, I'm going to say this year. Might have to update and choose all of my different owners, and there we go. You can see. So these are all current opportunities we have in the pipeline. So this is where, when I go create this opportunity, it's going to appear, and we would then manage it. But to really create opportunities, I want to go to my Contact Manager. And let's say I got a call from Alyssa and at Biznet Digital, and she's requesting a website. I could do a couple of things here. I could, right from this, I see Alyssa in the list. If I didn't see her, I could search and find her. Right from this screen, via this quick and handy kind of shortcut menu, I could create an opportunity right from here. I could do the same from within Alyssa's detailed contact record, but I don't need to dive any deeper. So I'm going to go create an opportunity. The first thing SharpSpring will do is recognize, hey, there's opportunities, some existing opportunities, either related to Alyssa herself or related to her company being recognized by the domain name used as part of her email address. So SharpSpring's just saying, hey, wait a minute, before you go create a new one, we've got these already up here. Are you maybe amending or appending one of these? I am not doing that. I want to create a brand new opportunity for Alyssa. So I'm going to launch this screen. And the first field I get presented with up here is the name. What's the name for the opportunity? By default, her company name gets dropped in. But let's say Alyssa contacted me and said, hey, you know what? I need a, Valentine's Day website. So I give the opportunity a name. Over here, the account name, her company gets dropped in by default. Dollar value gets entered here. To create an opportunity, you need at least a $1 value for an opportunity. That's a value, that's a number that can be changed down the line. So if this is too early in the game to really know what the price on this might be, you should at least put $1. If you have a pretty good estimate, like, hey, this is probably going to be a $2,500 website, you can put a value in. Again, we can come back later and change that. Close date, similar to dollar value. You need to enter some date here, but you can go back and change that. We're going to say, given that she wants this site up by Valentine's Day, we want to close this deal ideally by January 15th. That'll give us enough time to get the site built for her. The next section down here, pipeline, is where I can designate which pipeline this opportunity will get added to. We are, in this instance, running 3 different pipelines, so I could place it accordingly into the appropriate pipeline. This is going to be a general sales pipeline opportunity, so I'm going to select sales. Next, I get to identify at what stage is this opportunity. So, as you can see here in our pre-constructed sales pipeline, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stages. Initial contact request, that's, again, that's the little infant stage. Needs analysis is, in the context of our test environment here, as we work deals through the pipeline, somebody contacts us, we then do a needs analysis, so that opportunity moves to that stage. After we've done a needs analysis, we then provide the client with a broad stroke pricing proposal. If they like that, the opportunity then moves to a formal proposal in development stage. And then after that, it moves to proposal delivered. As you can see, we do not have any stages for closed won or closed lost. Those are actually statuses within SharpSpring. And once you mark an opportunity as either closed won or closed lost, it actually drops off the pipeline. SharpSpring will track wins versus losses, so you don't necessarily need a separate stage for that. So really, like in our instance, after proposals delivered, if a client were to call back and say, hey, you guys got the project, we'd go in, mark it won, and boom, SharpSpring stores it that way, reports on it as a won opportunity, and then we can move on. So that way, you know, your pipeline's not getting cluttered with won opportunities. Conversely, if you wanted to keep opportunities at stages and maybe mark them that way, or you could potentially, for example, create a separate pipeline, even maybe call it deals won, and then when something gets won, just move it there. That way, it's, you know, it's front and center visible to you. I did a boot camp yesterday with a client who described they want to keep track of deals they've lost and kind of identify why they may have lost them. Was it pricing? Was, you know, value? Was it whatever? And we kind of, in an informal way, talked about maybe they could create a pipeline and move those deals to that pipeline to track them. So, you know, if you want to be creative and flexible, you can do that within SharpSpring with pipelines. This is where we mark the status of the deal. This deal is open. These statuses are pretty simple, really. If something is still active, still, you know, even if it's cold, warm, or hot, but you know, you're still working the deal, you want to keep it as open. If you won a deal, you mark it as closed won. Again, it drops off the pipeline. It gets logged as a closed won. The dollar values get tallied up in your opportunities won report and in other areas. Closed lost, the deal gets marked as closed lost. It gets pulled off the pipeline. And then archive is used if, let's just say, a deal died on the vine. You know, you had it in the pipeline for months and months and months. The client was unresponsive. You weren't getting any feedback. You're just like, hey, you know what? I want to clean up my pipeline. Let's just archive this thing. Doesn't really delete it. It archives it. You could potentially go back and bring it back to life in the future if you had to. So we're going to keep this as one, or I'm sorry, open. Attributions is where you would assign not necessarily the salesperson who owns this account or client, but it's this particular opportunity. You know, depending on how you're structured. Of course, you know, in most organizations, the salespeople will probably be the attribution here, but you know, you could potentially have, I don't know, let's say Alyssa was my sister and I'm not really a salesperson, but, you know, I brought this opportunity in and I want to get some credit for it. You know, I may not be her lead owner, her salesperson, but I could say, hey, thanks, sis. I want to make sure I get an attribution in our pipeline for this deal. Probability to close is a setting that it exists in the pipeline. And what it is a default setting for each stage of your pipeline. And it's as the title says, a probability to close. You know, the theory being things early in the pipeline have a lower probability to close than things later. You know, if you look at these stages, as our opportunities, you know, I don't know, 70% of these initial contacts requests may never pan out. You know, somebody calls and says, hey, I need a website. And by the time, you know, we give them a broad strike, they go, oh, didn't realize it was going to cost that much. And, you know, they bow out. But obviously, as things work later down and move through stages, the probability to close is probably going to increase. So SharpSpring lets you do that at a stage level. For example, if I click proposal and development, you'll see the probability to close bumps up to 90%. Conversely, initial contact request is only, it was 10, now it's 20. I can manually move this too. So on a deal opportunity by opportunity basis, I can change this. So if I'm like, hey, this is still initial contact request, but this is my sister and she told me, hey, I'm going to have you guys build this website for me. It's almost a done deal. I could manually override and set that probability to close. The other area of the screen over here is, these are other contacts at, in this case, Biznet Digital, because that's who Alyssa works for. So I can go add additional opportunities from here. I can also add additional contacts. Right now, I've got Alyssa and Mike Schwartz assigned to the Biznet account. But SharpSpring is recognizing that these are other individuals in the database, and do I want to assign them to this opportunity and this contact? I could do that here. I'm not going to do that presently. So what I've done is logged, a title for this, a company name, a dollar value, a close date, which pipeline it applies to, where it is stage-wise, its status, who owns this opportunity, and then its probability to close. So I'm going to save this opportunity. I get a little status message up here telling me it's been saved. Let SharpSpring churn away. And once it's done saving, I can close this out now. And so now, let's say, okay, we've logged that opportunity. Let's say a week later, Alyssa contacts me and says, hey, you know what, I've had a conversation with her and I want to change the status of this opportunity. First things first, you'll notice within our stages, this is the opportunity I just created, Valentine's Day website. In this view, as I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about managing the pipeline here because we have that in an upcoming session. But in terms of being able to manage this opportunity, I can click it here and it'll pull up the opportunity. And actually, I've got the opportunity to add additional information. This opening screen shows me the overview basic information. I also have the ability to here, under the status area, to log a status about this opportunity. I can click the pencil icon here and I could make a note. Bear with me here. So for example, this, you can really use this status field in any way you would like. It's not going to attribute the comment to me necessarily. But I could just log a general note that others who might come in and view this opportunity could see. So I just made a status note, Alyssa really needs this site up because she's selling flowers for Valentine's Day. Similar to what we see in Contact Manager, I could set a task for this. So I could set a reminder to myself, call her January 5th. I could assign it to myself. I could set a completion date and time for this reminder. I can also choose to on save send a calendar invite to the task's owner. So in this case, since I'm the owner here, I would get a notification. I could then save this to my Outlook calendar. It would appear there. It would not automatically appear, but I would get an alert email that would allow me to then save it to my calendar. So in that way, I can set a reminder on this opportunity. So it's not necessarily a reminder to call Alyssa, but it's related to this opportunity. And I can set this reminder. It then appears here under the tasks. And when I log into SharpSpring in the future, as you've seen these other pop-ups here in the right corner, this would pop up as a notification to me. Custom fields I'm not really going to talk about a lot, but you do have the ability to create opportunity level custom fields. So if there's particular information you would want to capture across all of your opportunities, you could create a custom field. The custom field being data above and beyond what's already stored here. Data above and beyond that you would want to know about your opportunities. So those could appear here. The other tabs from within the opportunity, we've got contacts. And again, these are the contacts who are assigned to this particular opportunity. As you saw, SharpSpring recognizes there's other people at this organization who we may want to associate. And I say, yeah, you know what? I know Justin's always involved in Alyssa's website builds. I do want to add him. So I just, as you saw, searched, added him. So now Justin is, part of this opportunity. These opportunities would show up under his contact record also. So I'm going to save this. So you can add and delete and do, other things with these contacts from here. Let me move The communication tab. What this does is keeps track of SharpSpring-based communications that have gone out to the contacts. Again, the people on this contacts tab. These are SharpSpring-based communications that have gone out to these people associated, who are associated with this opportunity. So it's kind of almost a different view into life of a lead type stuff. So you get a little bit of a glimpse of, hey, what's been going on, what kind of communication, what kind of calls have been logged, what kind of emails have been sent, that kind of stuff. So another view on communication to these people that may or may not be related to the opportunity, but at least you have a chance to view them. Notes is another way you can kind of log comments and notes to yourself. Again, I was at a live bootcamp yesterday, and a new client asked, well, what's the difference between status and notes? And I said, well, really, you can decide how to use them. He actually had a pretty good idea. Maybe use status for those large overreaching comments about the client, and maybe use, I think he plans to use notes to almost like inter-office messaging, because you'll see when I log a note here, it's going to attribute it to me. So I don't know what kind of note I would make here. I read website, be sure designer knows. So I can add a comment here, and you can see the note gets logged by me. So again, if I'm a salesperson and my sales manager wanted to come in and look at these notes and maybe make a note on my note, we could kind of have this little back and forth dialogue contained within this opportunity here. So those are the different tabs. What I'm going to do here, though, is go back to the overview tab, and as I said, let's say Alyssa contacted me and said, hey, you know what, this website's going to be worth more than I thought. I'm going to be selling all kinds of stuff, not just flowers. And let's say, in between then and now, I've already done the, I've done the needs analysis, and I sent it to her, and that's what prompted her to say, hey, I'm going to need some more money. So I want to move this to a new stage in the pipeline. I'm then going to save this. I get a prompting message saying it's been saved. I can then close this screen. I'll be returned back to the pipeline, and as you can see here, this opportunity, the Valentine's Day website, has now moved to the needs analysis stage. So again, as this deal would work through the pipeline, I could then, let's say I finally get around to, providing the actual proposal, I would just come in, simply click this, and move this to that stage, save it, and it'll move itself over in the pipeline to the next stage. A couple of things to point out too. You can see up here, I just assigned a free-form text field dollar value to this opportunity, based upon a hunch or a proposal that we provided. SharpSpring also has the ability for you to enter products and services and use those to drive the price of an opportunity. So for example, if I click Add Products, I've pre-built a series of products and services in here for our fictional company. So let's say, based upon talking to Alyssa, I've determined, what, she needs really a mid-range website. We've already pre-built a dollar value, or assigned a dollar value of $5,000 to that. So I can add that product to this opportunity. It shows up down here, and then you'll notice the dollar value of the opportunity changes up here to reflect that pricing. I could even add additional products and services. Let's say in addition to that, I know that Alyssa's going to need some usability consulting to help her figure out, what's the best website that would work for Valentine's Day and people looking to buy flowers, and she really doesn't have any ideas, and the sites we've looked at are all kind of crazy, and we figure she could benefit from that service. So I can add that also. That also appears, and again, the dollar value of the opportunity changes to reflect that. I actually clicked that twice, so I'm going to remove it. In another session, we'll talk about adding products and services, but you have a variety of different ways to add them and price them. You can do products only, services only, a combination, packages. all kinds of stuff like that. But it can help simplify the dollar value assigned to the opportunity. So again, I can save that and then close this out. And again, when I go back to my pipeline, you can see her opportunity is now moved to proposal and development stage. Let's say we finally get to the point where, I delivered the proposal, Alyssa approved it. Now we're now going to say, hey, we won this opportunity. That's where I would come in here, pick status, say closed won, save this opportunity, and then when I go back to the pipeline, let me refresh. Sometimes it takes a moment or two to catch up. When I refresh this, that Valentine's Day website opportunity is no longer in here. It's no longer part of the active pipeline. However, if I went down to sales here, that's where I get a listing of deals that have been won in this time frame. So you can see the website now appears there. This opportunity would also appear in, and again, this is another pipeline activity we'll cover at a later session. But if I was to export my pipeline to CSV, all of these opportunities, both open, closed, archived, won, lost, would appear there. So that's the down and dirty on creating and managing opportunities in SharpSpring. As I said, it's contact based, person based. You pull somebody up in the contact manager, and you create the opportunity from there. At the same time, let me pull up Alyssa and show you. Membership. On the membership tab, we will keep a listing. SharpSpring keeps the listing of opportunities assigned to Alyssa. And you can see the Valentine's Day opportunity that we just walked through the pipeline and won now appears here. So if I was to click this, I'd be taken, even though this is no longer appearing in the pipeline, I'd be taken to the detail page on this opportunity. So that's that on creating and managing opportunities. I'm going to give, I know we ran a minute or two long. I'm going to give folks a couple of seconds if anybody has any questions to submit them. If not, I'll fill this little bit of dead time by just saying we will be having our next session next Thursday, 11 o'clock. The anticipated topic then is going to be probably part one of creating and managing pipelines. There's a little bit more to pipelines. We'll talk about how do you create them, how do you create stages, how do you manage them, some of the different views on a pipeline, and we may touch upon a report or two. This reporting we'll do in a different session, but we may look at opportunities one and kind of how to dive into the data you can get out of your pipelines. So that being that, I don't see any questions coming in. I think we're going to log off for the day. I appreciate you attending. As I said, look for this to be posted, recording to be posted to our Biznet login page shortly. And then otherwise, we look forward to presenting to you again next Thursday. Thanks, everyone.